Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back here with Shastra today for our podcast number 5. Today we're talking about pre-play and tantric love making. Excited to have Shastra, the sensual spirit, joining us. And that's the website, SHASTRATHESENSUAL, spirit, SPIRIT.com. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. We're excited to be back here to talk to you. I mean, you have many years of experience, over 14 years. You're based out of Phoenix currently, right? But you
Right.
do Zoom sessions. You work with people all over the world. You also want to point out that you teach White Tantra, which means fully clothed sessions only. And for those new time listeners, tell us a little bit about what Tantra is and what you do.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. So what is Tantra? A tantric student seeks enlightenment through the body, not necessarily through sex. And Tantra means to expand. So it is a path that teaches us to expand our sexual energy, to understand it in a different way and use it for our happiness. So that's in a nutshell what it is.
Perfect. And let's also point out that a little bit what we've talked about, maybe just explain a little bit what you do, or if you want to recap some of our sessions, that gives people an idea of the full
Okay,
version of what Shastra can cover. And then we're going to get to some fun stuff.
I know, right. Yes, so I do have a step-by-step process that I use in working with clients or teaching workshops. So in the first podcast, it was general about Tantra. The second podcast, I always want to make sure the person is shed sexual trauma. So it's about sexual healing. So I can take you through that process to lighten your burden. Then it's important to offer you how to communicate effectively with a partner. So tantric communication, it's a whole different way of communicating. So that's part of what I offer. And then last week we talked about how to become a tantric athlete and experience a full body orgasm, full body awakening. And we're going to continue that process today.
Perfect. All right. Do you want to we're going to talk about the definition of an orgasm too, right? We're going to get right
Yeah,
down to it. Go ahead.
I know you had asked me about that, Jill. I couldn't find an origin in Sanskrit, and the best one that I found, it's kind of interesting, and I can't pronounce it. It's in
Okay.
French, but it means little death. I don't know if you've heard of that. And so basically, they say that when you experience orgasm, you weaken the consciousness, but it's really they don't really understand that what they're doing is going into this supernatural consciousnus. And
Okay.
yeah, and so they also say that it's more like a spiritual experience, so that's perfectly tantric, but they call it a little death. I think it's kind of funny.
Awesome. I like that. All right. Thank you for the heads up. All right. What else is on tap for us today?
Okay. So today we're going to talk about what is tantric lovemaking, and we're going to talk about the proper way to do pre-play, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, but basically tantric lovemaking is more conscious lovemaking. It is full body. When the release happens, it's more subtle. There's a chance to recreate yourself, to experience more happiness, to really deepen intimacy. It's really like a whole different thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and so some of the ancient masters say that ecstasy is like a thin veil away, that we can move into it, but we resist ecstasy greatly,
Okay.
and I'm sure, that you would feel that would be true. Everybody that's listening, it's a lot harder to do, but we want a tantric student is shines like a diamond. So we we are in bliss 24/7 without ever stopping it. I was just listening to a podcast of Nikola Tesla, and he said that that's the way he lived his life, is in a constant state of ecstasy. It was pretty
Wow.
wild. So I'm just like to go over what we talked about last time about what does each sex need to open up sexually. So of course, as a woman, physically, we need longer foreplay. That's basic. And we need full body to be touched full body before lovemaking. Emotionally, we need to trust. And there's several ways that, that can happen. Spiritually, we need to have our deeper side acknowledged by our masculine partner. That's very important, which helps us open up sexually.
Okay.
Excuse me. And what does the masculine need? He also, it's very important to give a man full body touch, nurturing touch before lovemaking, a few hours before, the night before, because, they, to learn, most people, humans, make love from their brains and don't involve their body. So it's very important. And to receive appreciation, and spiritually, he can be taught the ways of ascension through merging the female body. So the female body is supernatural, but we need the energy of the masculine to complete the whole process of creation. Let's see. So just this could is some tips for, say, either a single man, how to create a tantric date, or for your wife. Okay, is get a lot of physical exercise before the date. Create anticipation for her by texting her a few days before and telling her how excited you are for the date. Okay, and then taking her out for dinner, say, letting her talk for an hour, because I always say to a single guy, you have a much better chance of getting your way with a woman if you can let her talk for an hour or two before. So full body touch. And so there are two practices that we talked about before, and this is what I teach a couple. Basic is a certain way to connect at the heart through the breath. And if you do that, both the body surrender and soften. It's really beautiful. And then to lie together for 15 minutes, do some deep breathing, what I call the whole body breathing, because we want to have both men and women, our energy feels greatly expanded before we merge sexually. So let's just talk about, why did I put that there? What is yin lovemaking? So this is something that's totally missed in modern day sex. Okay. So as I was saying, the feminine body holds a key, like a bridge between matter and spirit. So she's cosmically connected, but most sex is mostly yang sex. So, and the female wants to please the male, so she goes along with that, just all real fiery, then release. But the whole thing that's missing is there's no opportunity for recharge. So it's better if, say, the lingam becomes limp, is to go into what's called the valley of love. So as the woman embraces him, she recharges herself and him, and then they can have a much deeper experience. So because the female womb, I teach a workshop to women called the cosmic womb. So at the tip of our cervix, we have like a wormhole that connects to the center of creation. And that's why why the, birthing is such a supernatural, beautiful experience. But for a woman to have her cosmic womb open, she has to do a lot of work. And I'll talk about that in a second. But if it is, and if a man has surrendered enough during sexual merging to surrender to her once he is inside of her, then I mean, there can be like ascension. It's really a beautiful process.
And let's remind everyone, Shastra, how we can reach you to discuss more about this process, which we'll continue in just a sec. We need our advertisement.
Okay. Yes. So my website, shastrathesensualspirit.com. And please email me to be on my email list because something's malfunctioning on the homepage. And you can email me at goddess.shastra@gmail.com. And also you can follow me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. We're talking about Tantra, obviously the work that she does, and opening up sexually with your partner, both spiritually, emotionally, physically, and also the feminine and the masculine, which I know we discussed, and the feminine sexual body. And we're going to get some tips today too. Yeah, on tantric love making and some other tips as well. All right, bring it back, Shastra.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so what is it to be a master lover for a man? What are the steps to train to be a master lover? So it involves the previous steps that we talked about in the previous podcast. So learning to be an effective communicator, learning how to be a coach for your partner, learning how to hold space, take nothing personally. But also what's really important is learning what are your emotional blocks that are preventing you from really understanding and helping your feminine partner go deeper and bring out her emotions. Because remember what I said, that there is a gift for a man. He has a natural capacity to monitor his woman's moods and to change them. You just don't know it yet, right? Yeah. So anyway, and then once you have done that training, which, that's many steps, then physically, in the program, I've actually, I have a program that I offer men, Master Lover Training Program for men. Then once you have healed all that and developed confidence, then to learn to train to be a tantric athlete, by learning PC pumps so you can last longer, by learning sexual breathing, by learning ejaculation control. And then some of the last parts, and you will be a master lover, is I teach 3 ways that you can help your woman or your partner to transmute negative energy, which are really, really beautiful practices. And then the last thing is how to help her physically soften her sacred space, her yoni area, vaginal area, through healing. And you as a man, you can learn to do this healing easily. It's not that difficult. You don't have to be a Reiki master or anything. And then I teach you how to offer G-spot massage to your female partners so that she can release trauma as well. So you will be trained, and it's a beautiful program.
You mentioned releasing trauma from the G-spot. I'd never heard of that. Could you just share a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, sure. So the G-spot is connected to the clitoris. It's they have nerve endings that are connected, but it in the training that I do, we divide, it's like if you see it like a circle, we divide it up into 12 points. So he places 1 or 2 fingers inside, and first he does a test if he lightly strokes point 1, it might be pleasurable. If he lightly strokes point 4, that could be the point that is trauma is held.
Okay.
And so then after the test, I created what's called a transmutation breath. So she breathes into the trauma and then blows that energy up through the central channel, connects it with the third eye, and it's dissipated. So yeah, it's quite common for this area to
Okay.
hold trauma.
Wow. Thank you. All right. Interesting.
Yeah. Um, so see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Yeah. Now, so also for a woman, you can learn to be a master lover. And the beginning steps, of course, are the same. Making sure you are emotionally healed, shedding any trauma, either relationship trauma, general trauma, whatever, and learning how to communicate in a way that a man will understand,
Mm-hmm.
how to take nothing personally, and so forth. And what I find modern day women, we've had to become masculine so much that we don't know the art of being vulnerable. So what I do is in a lot of the sessions with women, I connect them with what I call their inner masculine. So it's like a fantasy, it's like a made up, but through them breathing them in, they create like an inner strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they can use for discernment. Say
Okay.
if they're single, is this man safe to go out with? Is he safe to merge with sexually? And so, the program Master Lover for Females does take you to a point where your body, you own your power, you own the power of your cosmic physical body and how it connects with the universe, and you develop confidence in it. So then at that point, you can help your man, say, by you can learn ejaculation control to be a coach for him. You can learn how to do belly breathing to help him be in his body, lie with him and do belly breathing. And then preparing yourself is what we talked about last time, doing the PC pump contractions, really developing a strong sacred space, physically, spiritually, and releasing trauma, like I said. And then because there's too few women and men who are in their power. As I said in the very first podcast, both sexes right now I have become disempowered. So Tantra is a beautiful way to identify where are you disempowered. Some people don't even know where to look for that.
Yeah. Well, we still got 5 minutes left, and I know there's still more into your notes. What else did you want to elaborate on from here?
Okay. So yes, there was a tantric master, and his name was Osho, and there's a quote.
Oh,
He,
good.
he says, meditation transforms sex into love. And so what is tantric meditation? So, if we think of regular meditation, then we think of somebody sitting there and contemplating. But in tantric meditation, there are active meditations that involve the breath, and there are, inactive meditations. There are non-sexual meditations, such as
Mm-hmm.
dialoguing. There are more sexual. So it just means anything that you do or anything I teach you, when you come to me for a session, to have the intention that it's sacred, and it changes the whole energy. So over the 14 years of working with clients, so I've got at least 30 pre-play and lovemaking practices that I can offer you as a couple, and also teach it to a single person, to have a very intimate and really deepen your intimate connection with your partner. So just to give you an example, like for a man, if he's emotionally frozen, then the best thing for the female partner to do is to help soften his heart. And there's several heart breathing practices that I offer that will dramatically help a man to be in his body, and also to soften his heart and to be able to be more vulnerable. So it's very, very good for that. If a man is sexually inhibited, and if he's with a partner but he really has no confidence, he can come to me for a private session. Or if he's with a partner, I created a practice called the slow sensual breath that he actually practices in front of a partner, and he'll be kind of embarrassed, but it will help him because she'll give him a lot of positive feedback.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Now for sex addiction, it's kind of multifaceted, but one reason, say a woman can have sex addiction too, but a person has sex addiction, especially for a man, is they have a unfulfilled longing to gaze upon the beauty of a feminine naked body. And so there's an ancient tantric meditation called the Khajuraho meditation, where you turn on music, soft music, and the woman places herself in a sensual position, but with her legs closed. And the man just goes into meditation, gives himself full permission to gaze upon her body. And so I've done it in a workshop even, and I have women crying, and I mean, it's really, really
Wow,
powerful.
that is powerful.
Yeah. And so then, like I said, the deep belly breathing. So if a man is having a hard time staying in his body, he's real intellectual. So I teach a way for a woman to lie with him and go into this deep belly breathing. What she's actually doing is transferring this cosmic energy directly into like his solar plexus, his first, second, and third chakras, and kind of mesmerized. He just kind of goes unconscious, right? Or super conscious.
Yeah.
Let's see. And so for a woman, if a woman's angry, so part of my master lover training for men is I teach the man, there's a way with his erect lingam that since it's electric, that he can disperse her angry energy from inside of her yoni area.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 other breathing practices. So because we as women, we want the man to be the director. We want to be able to rely on him, so that, as women, in order for us to get in touch with our cosmic nature, we need to feel safe, and we need to be totally relaxed in lovemaking. So that's the beauty of Tantra. There's so many wonderful practices that nobody knows about, right? So,
And you're teaching me a lot, and I hope our listeners too.
good.
Awesome. That may be newer to this. And I love hearing these stories. This fascinates me, gets me excited that I want to try some of these. And
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yes.
You
All
can
right.
book a session.
What was the name of it called again? Again, when the woman was there, not Kundalini, what
Khajuraho.
Khajuraho. Okay, I'm gonna look that one
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. It's in India, there's a temple called the Khajuraho temple. There's all kind of carvings of naked women on there. And a tantric male student used to have to meditate outside the tantric temple until he would lose all energy of lust within him. So yeah, because Tantra is not about lust. It's totally not. So much more.
Got
So,
it. Well, thank you for reminding us of that. Shastra, how do we reach you?
okay. ShastraTheSensualSpirit.com. Go to the Tantric Services page and you can see the list of services.
Yeah.
Please sign up for my email list the old-fashioned way by emailing me until I get this problem solved. And then my email address is goddess.shastra@gmail.com. And please go and listen to the other previous 4 podcasts. They were at the same time, 1 p.m., I think it is, Fridays. So,
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you
yeah.
so much, Shastra. Have a great day and an even better weekend. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.